Rocketman is directed by Dexter Fletcher and stars Taron Egerton as Elton John. The story starts with Elton John in rehab telling us the story of how he grew up, what he went through, and his success following his childhood. And I gotta say that Rocketman is pretty fun. I really enjoyed myself here. There's a lot to like about this movie. There are some negatives, and I'll get to those in a little bit, but with this movie, the biggest part about it is Taron Egerton's performance as Elton John. He is amazing, and he will get nominated for Best Actor here. He pulls off the charisma of Elton on stage and also the introversion of him behind closed doors and when he's in his lowest moments and when he's dealing with family members that are just treating him like crap or the people in his life that are treating him terribly. He gets all those emotional beats right. He does all the singing in this film, and he's amazing. There's no mixing to make him sound more like Elton like they did with Bohemian Rhapsody and Rami Malek. Rami Malek was amazing, and I think he does deserve the Oscar. I think there could have been some other people, but this performance, I think, is better than Rami with Freddie Mercury there. He definitely deserves an Oscar nomination. And I know it's early, and the Academy tends to forget movies that come out earlier in the year, but I don't see him getting overlooked. Everyone around him is really good as well. I love the connection with him and his friend Bernie and his writing partner. And I like the dynamic between him and Richard Madden. It's funny because you have Richard Madden that played the same guy that Aidan Gillen, I think his name is that, the guy that plays Littlefinger in Game of Thrones. I think they play the same character, so that's kind of a little odd. But with this film, there are a lot of fantasy elements because of how it's told. So it's not a traditional film, because with biopics, musical biopics to be exact, they tend to have the same beat-by-beat storyline. He's a musical prodigy, he gets famous, he loses all his friends because he's too famous, he gets into drugs, he gets into alcohol. But this film has a bit of a more musical take on it, as in it's told through his own almost imagination and memory. So maybe how he was feeling in these moments, it kind of plays out in a fantasy type way where maybe he'll be floating one second or the whole street is singing and dancing with him. It's really a creative way to do it, and I think Dexter Fletcher did a really good job, and I would like to see more of his movies going forward, and I imagine he's probably going to be more into the music side of things, but who knows. I would watch any movie he puts out. I'm really wowed by his directing. He does a really good job, and I think he did a pretty good job at wrapping up Bohemian Rhapsody as well. Although Bohemian Rhapsody I had a lot of issues with, this movie kind of clears those issues up because it is more gritty like Bohemian Rhapsody should have been. You have this character of Elton John who had a lot of drug issues, who was an alcoholic, who was addicted to sex, kind of like Freddie Mercury was, and in that movie, Freddie didn't really get that true story like we probably should have gotten. Unfortunately, Queen wouldn't really give us that, but this movie just has the grit that it needed, and I think it could have been a little bit more. I think they pulled it back a little bit, but I think, it was a good job. As for flaws with this film, the casting of his mom, I think it was Bryce Dallas Howard, but I'm not sure. She just, it's a weird thing. I saw this in I, Tonya as well, like the aging of characters over time. They don't seem to get older. And so when he grows up, it looks like they're the same age. And then all of a sudden in one scene, like she's really old, and it doesn't make a ton of sense. But it's a nitpick, I must admit. And it does have its typical story beats as it goes on throughout the film. I think it's a lot better than Bohemian Rhapsody here, and I do expect this to get some awards recognition towards the end of the year. I also really liked how they kind of just focused on one part of his life instead of his whole life, because it would have been really hard to trap that all into one little box, one little 2-hour block of movie. If I had to pick one word for this film, I would say it's refreshing. I think it's a good movie, does have its trappings, but overall, I think it was a really good time, and I enjoyed myself thoroughly throughout the whole film. What did you guys think of Rocketman, and what did you think of Taron Egerton as Elton John? I definitely recommend it. Make sure you tell me what you think down below. My name is Oakley, and this is my new channel, Oakley B Cinema. If you like what you saw here, make sure you subscribe. I also got some videos coming up. You can also check out my other channel, Third Winter. Me and my friends have reviewed Game of Thrones. We do a lot of movie reviews. We're doing our Tarantino series right now, so make sure you check that out. Again, that's Third Winter, and make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the like, share, whatever you guys want to do. Thank you. Have a good one.